I was trying to have a conversation with my girlfriend earlier today about some of the wacky stuff going on. Like, I was trying to talk to her about Howie Mandel posting a prolapsed anus on TikTok, but she just didn't have much interest in the topic. She just can't appreciate a good prolapse like we can. So I figured, you know what, if she's not interested, I'll talk to you all about it. But it's not just the blown out asshole that I want to talk about. There's a couple things that went on this week that I just want to at least discuss a little bit. But let's go ahead and start with the most interesting. On Howie Mandel's official TikTok account, he posted a peculiar piece of film where he showed a picture of a man whose entire butthole fell out and asked if it was related to COVID. I obviously can't show the full anus here, but I can at least show Howie Mandel's portion of it.
When my friend Neil bent over, this happened. Does somebody know, is this COVID related? And if it is, what do we do about it? Ow.
Right next to Howie is a giant prolapsed ass. It's not like goatsy or anything. It's a picture of a man who's squatted over, and it actually just looks like he dropped sausage casing out of his pockets. I'm sure all of us are familiar with prolapses, but just in case, an anal prolapse is when the rectum falls out of the hole a bit. It tries to make a prison escape and it pokes its playful little head out of the anus like a curious gopher. And in the picture Howie Mandel shows, it looks kind of alien. It looks like a zit that's being popped. It also looks kind of sharp, like it has a pointed edge on the prolapse. Like, that shit looks like it could cut bread. It almost looks like a challenge flag is being thrown out of this dude's ass. It's not all super red, like some of it around it looks like even a little infected. So it is a pretty unnerving picture that definitely would catch people off guard, especially on TikTok where the average age is like 9 years old. They would think this is the scariest thing in the world. Howie basically just posted the new blue waffle for Zoomers, and I actually thought this was a great piece of content from him. I only really know Howie Mandel from Deal or No Deal and America's Got Talent, so I had no idea Howie went this hard. Dude straight up went Insano style. But maybe this has like a direct tie-in to his other properties. Like the actual prolapse anus victim here is the banker from Deal or No Deal. But Howie really did just hit us all with that golden buzzer. I didn't expect it, most people didn't expect it, but I actually thought it was pretty entertaining. He's clearly doing it as a joke. My friend Neil bent over and this happened. Is it COVID related? You know, like it's clearly just meant to be a quick 15-second little joke. Bang, here's a shocking picture, and here's Howie right next to it. It's just a good piece of fun. People really blew it out of proportion. A couple news outlets picked it up saying that it was traumatizing to his audience and this and that, just a bunch of bullshit. But I want to commend Howie for being this brave. No one goes on TikTok expecting to see what Howie posted. So he really bamboozled us there. But apparently it's not the first time he went a little unhinged. There was actually a circulated rumor on TikTok that Howie Mandel was kidnapped and being forced to make TikToks. A wild story. I didn't really look much into it because the very first piece of evidence I saw is Howie Mandel holding up a bag that had shoe supplies on it or something. And when he was pointing to shoe supplies on the bag, he made a triangle with his finger on the S, O, and S. So people were saying that it was a cry for help or something. It was outrageous, but it was a moderately popular theory that Howie Mandel was kidnapped. I don't necessarily believe it. Maybe he was. I mean, who am I to say? I'm not Howie's PR guy. I don't know all of his lore. But the evidence wasn't super compelling, and from the brief 45 seconds I spent looking at it. But again, this isn't the first time Howie Mandel's been in the spotlight for some weird shit. Now, another thing I wanted to briefly touch on, since I get asked about it a lot, is my opinion on Elon Musk backing out of the Twitter deal. For those that don't know, Elon Musk is trying to weasel his way out of buying Twitter now, saying that he's, no longer interested in Twitter, was in breach of the provisions, this and that, and now Twitter's trying to sue Elon to force him to close the deal and buy him out. It's a big mess. It's super muddy and stinky, and I don't get all the specifics. But I will say, Elon Musk is just like a human shitpost. There is never any telling when he's genuinely going to follow through on something. Dude's been promising self-driving cars every year for like the last 8 years, and his entire Twitter feed is nothing but memes. But I still believed he was actually following through on this purchase since he went through all of the effort, all of the legality and litigation or whatever to get it to this point. I didn't think you could go that far and then just conclude with it's just a prank. But the madman did just that. citing that Twitter was actually the one in breach of their agreed upon rules because they didn't accurately disclose how many bots there were on the platform, which does sound like a legitimate concern if Twitter isn't providing like actual information on how many of its users are bots. But to me, this just seems like Elon finally sobered up from his 2-month long bender, realized he made a stupid decision that no sane, rational person would do with trying to purchase this dog shit cesspool of a website, and then looked for any way out of it. And this seemed like one that was a good target. I don't know if it'll work, probably will, but I guess we'll see. I just wanted to at least mention that yes, I know Elon is no longer buying Twitter, but I am curious to see how this concludes. Twitter lawyers are probably also coming in there with like big muscles because Twitter, they're not going to just take that shit lying down. Their stock is already dropping from this. So I'm curious to see that clash of the titans and how that unfolds. But yeah, I at least wanted to bring it up since I get asked about it a lot. My opinion's always been if Elon buys Twitter, great. I don't think anything changes. If Elon doesn't buy Twitter, great. Obviously nothing changes. It's still shitty both ways. You can't really fix it. The problem with Twitter isn't like a problem specific to the platform. It's a people problem. The people on Twitter are fucking stupid. Like it's just, it is infiltrated and infested with the actual dumbest human beings this godforsaken space rock has to offer, giving the worst takes on every situation ever. And you can't really fix that. And then the last thing that happened this week that I just want to at least mention is that whole Doja Cat drama with Noah from Stranger Things. I don't know why anyone thought that would be interesting to me, but I got that question a lot during Twitch streams because it was huge on Twitter. Basically, Doja Cat sent a message to Noah asking if the guy who plays Eddie in Stranger Things was single. And that was like a whole big fucking hoopla on Twitter for like 3 days. It was the most uninteresting, stale, ranky dank nonsense. Like, I don't give a fuck about that. I love petty internet drama a lot. All of you know that. That's not a secret. That wasn't anything. It was the biggest nothing burger I've ever seen. But it had like 300,000 something tweets about it. And every time I was looking for some spicy garbage on Twitter, it was just Doja Cat and Noah stuff. I don't care. I don't want to get asked about it anymore. I just want to make it clear I don't care. That is the most meaningless shit ever to me. A celebrity asked another celebrity about another celebrity's status on whether they're single or not. Woo! I mean, that's just so fucking boring. So yeah, I just wanted to clear that up. That's not my kind of internet beef that I care about. That's just not super interesting to me. I like the more wacky and wild stuff. So anyway, just wanted to mainly talk about the Howie Mandel shit, but also at least briefly mention these other two things since I got asked about them so much. That's really about it. See ya.